evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to an edition of Saturday Sports right here on NCBN TT Television. Remember, we are on every Saturday at 8 p.m. where we talk sports. Tonight, we're going to be talking cricket. As you know, the ICC T20 World Cup is in full swing. So we're going to be chatting a bit about the team, the performance. You know, is it the right team? Who's supposed to be there? Who not supposed to be there? And also, we'll touch a bit about on what's happening with West Indies cricket. And I have with me the former WIBC director, cricket director, Mr. Baldath Mahabir, and also the president of Clark Road Sports United Club, cricket club.
Yes.
It's a pleasure. It's been a long while since.
Yes, George, it has been a while.
I tell you, I gave a wrong name and all. Anyway, where we sit and we talk a lot about cricket. You know, I know you are versed in cricket. You are a man who doesn't take sides. You are fair in your assessment of West Indies cricket and cricket in general. So, as I said in the opening, the T20 cricket has started. Right, we selected a team. We played our first game against Papua New Guinea. And as I was telling somebody yesterday, I felt if Papua New Guinea had scored maybe a 150 or a 160, we could have seen a different outcome in that game. But before we reach there, let's talk about the team selection. Were you satisfied with the players selected, or are there players who you felt should have been given an opportunity?
No, the team by and large selected itself. The only man who could be a little bit peeved that he wasn't selected would be Kyle Myers. I thought Myers was doing enough to get himself into the mix. They have a limited number of people. I don't think that the opening batsmen on the team have that sufficient quality.
That's King and Charles.
King, Charles, and Hope.
And Hope, right.
I thought Myers may have added a little bit of both. He can bowl a bit. He's a very smart cricketer. But I think what worked against him is that in the IPL franchise, which is the same one Puran played for, he didn't get a look in at all. Decock kept him out.
He started bench right through.
Yeah. So I thought that would have worked against him. But then when I saw him, I think it was in the games before in Jamaica, he looked good. So I thought that the classes permanent, form is temporary adage comes in there. He looked good. And I thought even when Holder pulled out due to injury, that he would have been a better fit than McCoy. Maybe the selectors were looking for a left-hand seamer. But then why weren't they looking for that up front?
Yeah, but then you're bringing in McCoy and you have the new guy, Shamar Joseph.
Well, there's a big difference there. One is a left-arm seamer.
Okay.
And if you look at the World Cup and you look at it throughout, the left-hand seamers do extremely well.
Right.
Yeah, so we need to encourage a left-hand seamer. I thought that we treated Cottrell badly years ago after the 2019 World Cup when he had a good World Cup. But sometimes, George, these things happen and we on the outside are not fed enough information to know why player A was in and why player A was left out. But that's the only person I see in the current setup who could say, well, he had a little bit of a chance to get in the team.
Well, you know, some people have a problem with Hetmeyer. They say Hetmeyer should not be there.
In my view, too, Myers should have been in front of Hetmeyer as well. Hetmeyer is a role player. And that is something we have to understand about T20 cricket. When these guys go, I think Hetmeyer batted 55 balls in IPL in total.
Yeah.
When these guys go into their setup into the IPL, they are given a role and a function. They are not decision makers, they are decision takers. And they have to fit into that mold. And if he could go in those 10, 12 balls are in and get 20 runs for you and get out, that is all right. If Hetmeyer is in that role, perhaps there's a role for him. In the West Indies, he'll be asked to do something a little bit different. Whether he could do that, I'm not sure. There's no doubt that there's some quality about the young man, but whether he could do it. Now, having said that, let me just extend that, and this is a little problem that West Indies cricket must focus on. When these guys go to IPL, as I said, they are decision takers and not decision makers. And then they get their roles and they do extremely well in their roles. And then we come back into the Caribbean, and these fellas now are being asked to do something completely different. Some of them even want to make the decisions for the teams in which they play. They're not up to that standard. They're not up to that analytical minds. Their job is to function within the ambit of the structure of what you are doing and what your role is, and in that way they are successful. When they step out of that into becoming leaders and analytical minds and captains and so on, that's a whole different ball game. IPL doesn't prepare you for that. No game prepares them for that at this stage. So you would see people struggle if they are moved out of that comfort zone of their role. So Hetmeyer, if he's given the role to perform, he will more than likely do it efficiently. If he's given an expanded role, don't look for much positive results.
Another one who a lot of people were kind of like surprised at too is Ruston Chase.
Chase numbers in the Caribbean has been good, and even in CPL. You remember there was a CPL where he was left out, and then I think he ended up being the MVP of the tournament or something close to that. Chase has a good head on his shoulders. He gives you that off-spin option without the flamboyancy. And he ain't going to do no backflip and thing to gain attention. He's given a job to do in Caribbean cricket, and he does it efficiently and effectively. No, I have no complaints about Chase being on the team.
So you are quite comfortable with the actual team that we have right now?
Pretty comfortable,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go with the same team now that we are comfortable with. This game against Papua New Guinea, how do you rate that performance?
It was a bad performance, but it was a good thing.
As the first game?
Yes. West Indies needed a wake-up call. It better come in one of those matches. They underestimated the opposition. They went in very flat and complacent. They misread the pitch. When King and Puran was batting, it looked like it was a walk in the park. They quickly lost their way. And then the team lost their way. I made a statement on another media. We have to do what we have to do with effectiveness, efficiency, and ruthlessness. Ruthlessness in two ways. If the players can't fit the role that you want them to do, and they can't be mature and effective and efficient at the role, drop them. And ruthless from the point of view that every opponent is a strong opponent. And I'm going to use a football analogy, a recent one. You saw the Champions League final, I'm sure.
Yes, yeah.
And for 80 minutes, Borussia Dortmund won the game. But who won the match?
Exactly.
So don't take your eyes off the prize. West Indies cricket, looking to win small battles on the way up, that's not the thing. You have to win the match. And I thought that if the West Indies board technical team, the think tank, doesn't see that weakness, it was a very disjointed effort by the Maroon boys. If they can see that there is a little bit of a lot of complacency in the team, then we have a challenge. But I feel that having the time between that game and another game, and the way in which we were shaken up, I think that is a good thing for West Indies cricket.
So you're saying it's a good thing we have Papua New Guinea and Uganda as our first two games, because
the Afghans would have rolled us over in that game. Surely. On that pitch, given Afghanistan quality, we'd have come second. I have no doubt about that. In Guyana, I mean, that leads to a different story. I mean, how could you have a pitch down since 2007 and the pitch slow like molasses, wouldn't change? You know, we talk about the World Cup. We have the technology. Look at India's pitches and how that has changed, right? It is, for me, it is sad to see you talking about facilities and spending money to build stadia, and we can't get that little square of 50 feet by 80 feet correct, the 5 pitches on the square correct. How India could do it? Look at the Houston pitches, how they playing. Something is completely amiss.
Do we have the type of groundsmen that we used to have in the past, who could create and give you a good batting wicket?
Ground curatorship is an art, it's a science now, not an art. It was an art where people, where the old fellas went with local knowledge and law.
Yeah.
2010, 2011, 2012, somewhere there when those 3 years when Trinidad played Champions League, I spent a lot of time with groundsmen in India. They go to school. You could get a degree in curatorship. So I don't know what keeping the West Indies Cricket Board from sending 2 people, and I had recommended a boy from UWI who has a first degree to go to and complete this training in pitch preparation and outfield maintenance and in India, because there are a lot of pitches similar to ours, and come and transform our pitches. We still using old antiquated methods of doing it. They have scientific ways of testing the hardness on the pitch, testing the water content. You could predict how a pitch is going to play. If you could build highways, why you can't build a pitch? So, I mean, it is just obsolete as far as that is concerned, and we're not visionary. And I can't see how you could spend millions of dollars to upgrade a facility and not get the pitch right.
That reminds me of a couple of years back with Mary Ramjohn, when they did everything, grass, track and everything, and they forget the lights. You understand? But let's stick with the topic of cricket.
Yeah. So getting back on the field there.
Yeah.
So good wake-up call. Good thing it was Papua New Guinea. So we'll move on, you know, we'll see how we go on from there.
Because the man who they put in place of, who I thought they would have put, who they put in place of Admire in that game, Rutherford, he didn't really, you know, yes. And he's one of my surprise on the team too, because I don't think that he has been that consistent, right? And he didn't play much in the IPL.
Yeah. But he has been picking up experience. We played in the, I think the team he played with win the Toronto.
Yes, the Toronto
yeah.
T20.
And then he's been doing reasonably well around the world. Now, if you want to talk on a general basis about the team, we don't have top-class players anymore. I think we live in a fool's paradise if we think that West Indies is a top T20 team. The only 2 world-rated T20 cricketers on this team is Nicholas Puran and Andre Russell.
Yeah, I said so.
Right?
Yeah.
The rest of them wouldn't hardly likely pick up. All right, Narayan is not available, but that's our 3rd top-class T20 player. The rest of fellas will play in the B leagues and the C leagues around the world. If you're working back to football, Dwight York was playing at the highest level, and when Dwight York was playing there, we had Stern John playing there, and I think it was Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
And then we had Russell playing at the highest level in Scotland, right? We had Carlos and fellas like that around.
You had a number of footballers playing at a high level. Yeah. Now we have guys playing all down in Japan and Vietnam.
Right. So, how, I mean, if you bring the football and you run that analogy, so you take the cricket. If you're not playing in the highest league, you know where we are, right? And I'll go to that later in the show if you want to talk a little bit about development. But so don't expect us. We have to put a complete team performance to have any chance to win. But having said that, and having talked about the pitches is giving the West Indies a chance to do better in this tournament than I thought they would have done.
But do you see us doing well and going forward in this tournament? Because we have to come out of this group where we have Afghanistan and New Zealand.
If we could come out of this group, and I think we could come out, we played Afghanistan in St. Lucia, which is perhaps one of the best pitches in the Caribbean. So we should, but we could negate to some extent the spin bowling. But what I'll tell you, because the way the pitch is playing, all the teams have gotten caught a little bit with their pants down. Runs is going to be hard to come by. If it's a 180 game, West Indies have a real chance to win the game. If it's a 230-run game, I don't think we can make that, because we wouldn't run well between the wickets. That is not how we play the game.
Yeah, we don't really make more.
Right. We hit boundaries. We're going to hit the same number of boundaries, whether the pitch playing low or the pitch playing fast, because that's our mindset. In 180 score, if you hit 10 fours and 10 sixes, that is 100 runs. So they only have to make 80. So it gives us the pitches, because the pitches are not going to encourage scores of over 180. And that West Indies are real. What odds they were, the odds should shorten, because they will score that kind of runs. If it was 250 and 260 pitches, I didn't think we have a chance.
Where do you see our strengths? Is it like in the bowling or the batting department?
None. Team. We had to win the tournament. We had Narain and Badri and Ravi Rampal and Andre Russell and Dwayne Bravo and Kyron Pollard and Lendl Simmons and you name it, right? Chris Gale, we could leave out Gale.
Marlon Samuels,
who won 2 World Cups for us.
Exactly.
Right? Tell me, you go man for man on that team and against this team and see where they will fit. We have no strength. And Nicholas Puran is an outstanding batsman, and Andre Russell is an outstanding T20 cricketer. That's it.
So for us to win this tournament, what do we have to do?
We have to play as a team.
And do you see that happening?
I think so. I think the more they win, the more they will. We thrive on that. That will be fuel. So the draw is a good draw. I think Uganda is the second game.
Yeah, that's on the 8th. Yeah.
And then we play Afghanistan.
And then we have Australia, New Zealand.
Afghanistan in St. Lucia is the game of the tournament for me, for West Indies. We get past that and get into round 2. Any number could play from there on in.
Okay, we just have 1 minute again before we take our first break. But quickly, do you think we have the right coach as well?
No. Darren Sammy is not a coach. Darren Sammy is a cricket leader. And he's a motivator. And I don't think that our backroom, you touched on a crucial point, I don't think our backroom has the technical skill sets, the required skill sets, the analytical skill sets, the data coming into them, how we use the data to make a huge difference in the game. I think we still have this West Indian bravado where we don't use data and we don't use the analytics and we don't use all those things around the game, and we not check when to go hard, when to withdraw. No, I don't think Sammy is experienced enough for that. He's a brilliant motivator of men, and he was a fantastic leader of the West Indies team. But our backroom is weak.
Now, a lot of people make a lot of fuss about the warm-up games, but we have to take a break. When we come back, I just want to touch a bit on the warm-up games, because people tend to get carried away in warm-up games when we beat teams. But that's not the competition.
No, it isn't.
There's a practice game. So when we come back, we'll touch a bit on that. Viewers, you are viewing Saturday Sports on NCB and TT Television. We'll be right back after this short break.
Change our TV to the sound, boy, better stay calm, be cool.
Trinbago Heritage, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NCBN TT Television Network.
Hi, I am Nigel Coutier.
Hi,
I'm Jemima Joseph.
And I'm Jovan Paulette.
We are coming to a community near you. We're going to speak community talk. We want to hear your issues, your concerns, or what will improve your community.
Look out for us. We'll be coming soon, Nigel and myself, to your community to hear in whatever way we can do to improve your environment, be it employment, infrastructure, anything to improve your living as well as our own.
Catch us on NCBN TT Television for Community Talk.
Welcome back, viewers. And for those of you who now joining us, we are talking cricket here with Mr. Baldath Mahabir. And we're talking about the ICC T20 World Cup cricket. And as we go along, we'll touch a bit on different aspects of West Indies cricket. Before the break, I was mentioning that a lot of people started to get carried away when we beat South Africa, in the warm-up games. But the warm-up games are games where you don't even play your strong side. First of all, South Africa didn't even had their top, players. Right? But going further into the whole aspect of the cricket, from where you said, how do you, if you have to advise Sammy, as you already said that Sammy is not the right coach, right? And the backroom staff, what do the backroom staff have to do to really get the team to gel? Because the team is not going to gel just like that. It all depends on the day of the game, who they put out on the field, what are the tactics, what instructions they get, and things like that.
All right, there are two sides now to how the backroom emerges. The man management is where Sammy would be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's coach or not, he could have filled that role. How to get the team to understand their roles, how to get the best out of people in the circumstances, who doesn't like to bat early, who doesn't like to bat late, who sleeps late, that kind of man management, who thrives on training, who doesn't thrive on training, what are their personal strengths and weaknesses. That's where. The second part of that is the technical data, where we are playing, what the runs scored, what kind of bowlers get wickets on this ground, which is the windy side, which is the non-windy side, which is the small boundary, which is the big boundary. What is the bounce, the average bounce on this wicket, what is the average score on this wicket. All that kind of data, that is data that they could get in, any good analyst will get that for you in 2 hours. And then how you use that data to get your bat in order, who you target to make runs against, who you target not to make runs against you. Now, so you take the data, which is what your analyst could give you in 48 hours, in 24 hours. You take your man management skill or what you have, and this is where the coach and this is where the skill set comes in, to take the data and the skills that you have and weld them together to attack the opposition that you're going to play against. It has become more than just run out there and bowl at 90 miles an hour or spin the ball 15, 20 degrees. It's who bowls whom, from which side, at what time of the game. Every event, every ball in T20 has become an event on its own. I'm surprised at how that has happened. It had gone from slam bam, thank you ma'am cricket into a complete kind of scenario where, as I say, every ball is an event.
Yeah, T20 cricket has really evolved from the inception when it started. And you're seeing it now where the game has changed.
And will continue to.
Yeah.
So that's what, every ball needs to be involved. Somebody needs to be, of course they do it, the analyst is there, they're tracking the ball, they're tracking the time, they know which side. But those things, you can't go into battle not knowing who you're battling, where you're battling. So and remember that they will be counter-plotting you. How fast you could think on your feet, and how agile and nimble you are, and how flexible your plans are. And I don't think I don't think our backroom has that kind of expertise and experience to deal with things that are so dynamic. Right? Even India is going to have a problem, in my mind, in this World Cup, from A, man management, which is Rahul Dravid, which is the people who are doing that, and B, the team, for two reasons. If I may just go to India team, just to give the analogy. Sharma and Pandey had this little...
That's Harik in the
Mumbai
IPL.
Indians, right? Pandey was captain of Sharma. Sharma is now captain of Pandey in this tournament. Here we were for 6 weeks kicking each other's butts. And now we have to come to gel as a team in the Caribbean on completely different pitches, a completely different physical environment. I wonder how they're going to make that man management change and how they're going to make that technical change. But I know that they will have the back room to put it together.
Because they were talk about Sharma leaving Mumbai, India.
Those things do have an effect. We see it in Manchester United. You can't just put the 11 best players on the field and expect them to play well. Ego is too big. Fitness levels, all kinds of things come, mental things come into to play there. And I have my doubts whether India could jump those hurdles to win the World Cup. Right? Australia, on the other hand, they seem to keep their eye on the prize all the time. And they don't allow things off the field. They have white line fever. So if India could get white line fever and walk on the field as professionals and play as professionals, and then they could go back and have their own little tiffs and whatever off the field. If they could be professional enough, they will be a strong team. But I just make the analogy to see. And already, Dravid has said that he's not going to be coaching the team post-World Cup. That was not a good sign for me. Right? It means that there's something, he's tired. Would he be able to give it all, or there's some problem? It doesn't send the right signal to me as a cricket watcher that all is well in the India camp. And again, to use a football analogy, that's one of England's biggest problems in football. They kick each other every Saturday or 2 days a week, one another, and then you throw them in a camp and expect them to go and play in the Euro as a team. You think that could happen? Men, don't forget, there's not a wall. It's not like you could draw.
You're not going to forget in 2 days.
No. So those things have team impact. West Indies, well led by Powell so far. As I say, as a team, I think that we could come together.
To where you said he's a good choice for captain.
Good choice for captain. Now, I wouldn't say on this show, and from what I know firsthand, West Indies captain, once when I was on the board, Dinesh Ramdin was made captain, and I said that he's now gotten a crown of thorns. And I was pulled up gently in a board meeting for making the point. But it is a crown of thorns. Coming from 16 different countries to play for West Indies is not easy. People have friends that George should have got the captaincy instead of Baldath, and you know those things, and why my countryman, and you know, and it don't sit well. I'm not seeing that abrasiveness in this team. I think Powell means well, and I think that he could get the best out of the team on the field.
If we go back a bit and look at West Indies cricket, where we were dominant for over a decade, do you think that we are supposed to be in the position that we are right now after all these years? That you have countries that come in now and playing cricket. That is, I mean, on a given day, anybody could win a game, right? But we see teams that come in now that, given West Indies, issues.
Well, you want us to be here all evening, right? Firstly, let me go back to the great team. West Indies Cricket Board had nothing to do with that team becoming a great team. That happened. That was an act of God, an act of fate. All these guys were playing in England. And we just happened to have that particular bunch of talent grace Caribbean shores at that particular time. There was no development plan. There was nothing that predicted that West Indies could have become that great team. Nothing. There was absolutely no pathway for fellas to develop into that. We were great, and just one thing, we felt that was a team, a well-bonded team. They had their own problems like any team else, but Clive Lloyd was a good leader. despite what people say, you could have given any 4 men the ball and bowl fast. That is not true. Clive was an extremely good captain. So we didn't know what we did to get the team to be where they reached. So how are we going to recreate that? We have no plan. We never had a plan in the first instance. And we have never done any meaningful development in the Caribbean. We did it in Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm proud to say that Lee Kwai, myself, and Kumar Rampat, we took a development plan. We created a development plan. We didn't take a development plan. We created a development plan, and we started. The first thing we did was train 100 coaches and set up 100 coaching venues in Trinidad and Tobago. I think it was circa 1998, 90. And we started to develop young cricketers from 13. And we won the West Indies under 15, 3 years straight. And Tishan Maharaj captained the West Indies under 15 team to our World Cup. We had 6 Trinidadians on that team. Those fellas graduated before they were 19. Simmons and Bravo and Ramdin were playing on the Trinidad senior team before they were 19. We won the Caribbean under 19 2 or 3 times. We had 6 and 7 men on our West Indies team. So Pollard and all of them joined in that era. Bravo, Pollard. The first batch of people we took into the Sir Frank World Cricket Academy, 18 people, everyone played for Trinidad. So we had a plan in Trinidad. And that is what saved West Indies and what created the dynasty of white ball cricket in the West Indies. Nobody else in the Caribbean had a development plan. So I know what it is to work without a plan. We created a plan out of nothing. Aloy, God rest his soul, Kumar and myself. And we implemented the plan in 100 venues. And that is where the Ravi Rampauls, remember Ravi made the West Indies team straight out of the under-19 tournament. Right? That is where they came from. Out of that, of a wonderful Power Gen sponsored
Yeah, early days with Power Gen sponsored,
right.
Yeah.
I ran that. I was the chairman of that for all the years. We conceptualized it and we implemented it. And that is what saved Trinidad cricket and to some extent West Indies cricket. And then other things started to fall in place for us. Our club cricket changed from almost geriatric league to young fellas getting into it. And then, by a stroke of luck, we changed our league from 3 days to 2 days, where we were playing 100 overs a day. And Trinidad began to get very aggressive. We played the game in club. I was still playing at the time as well. We were playing in such a way that we want to bat 50 overs today and bowl the team out today as well. So we started to go hard instead of playing block the whole time. Cricket hit the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
And when T20 came into focus, Trinidad was ahead of the game because we were already playing aggressive cricket. So a lot of things were put in place to ensure that the Red Force would have been a fantastic team. All that is gone. There's hardly any development plan. It's tick box kind of thing where we have a tournament. There's hardly anything of significance happening. But in the wider Caribbean, there has never, West Indies Cricket Board has never had a cohesive plan. The other part of that puzzle that fit for Trinidad to become what it was a fellow called Stanford.
Yes, the Stanford, yeah.
When he gave us an opportunity to play as Trinidad and Tobago in T20, we saw what we could do. We dominated the Caribbean. We went to Champions League, and we were very, very, very well respected.
We made the finals also?
Yeah, the first 2009 we made the finals.
Yes.
But then we
were
were
Ganga.
Under Ganga.
Yes. Right.
We Adrian Barat, William Perkins,
Yes.
that team. But Sami Badri and Samuel Sunil, all of them came out of the exposure there. Remember a game, Pollard made his career he made 40 or 50 out of 18 balls for us to beat the Australian team. And I went there with the team 2 or 3 years. We were well respected in India. And Ganga was a fantastic T20 captain. On merit, he may not have deserved a place on the team, but he took the resources that he had.
Yeah.
And we beat a Chennai Super Kings team there that included Dhoni and Raina and Dwayne. Trinidad beat them, right? So we knew what we were doing. We had planned. It was a step-by-step process to reach where we were. what West Indies still ad hoc, brother.
But what is the issue? Because the West Indies Cricket Board have more resources than what the Trinidad Cricket Board had. And if you all could have done that, what is keeping them from doing it?
Vision, the will to do it, 16 different countries, politics, and laziness. I was there for 6 years. Laziness, right? They just don't have the will to do it. And even if the will is there, they don't have to do it because there's no... If it was a private enterprise, it would have happened. There are no consequences if you fail, you know. If you fail as if you're a West Indies board president and they don't like you, they vote you out in the next election and you're gone. So there are no consequences for failure, right? Nobody don't lose their job. We had a debacle in India where the team went on strike. Anybody in the West Indies board lose their job? No. It is a kind of boys club scenario. So there's no drive. It's a kind of fashion show thing. So unless you have somebody who go in there with the vision to do it and the will to do it, it wouldn't be done. And resource, West Indies board waste their resources, man, all the time. They waste it, you know. They're always under-resourced.
You know, sometimes you are amazed, you know, and we tend to come down on the players hard at times when they lack the performance. But sometimes it's more than the players. It comes down from the board, the backroom staff, the coaches, but most of the time the players, at the end of the day when they lose the game, they get the biggest set of, you know, as we say, beat up.
Well, that is the product. That's what the public sees.
Mm-hmm.
The public don't see the board meeting and they don't see the decision makers behind the scenes, right? So if you're making ice cream, nobody sees the ice cream plant. You put out a bad batch of ice cream, you're going to get licks for it, right? So the interaction, the interface with the fan is the team. And if the team not doing well, who do you think they're going after? Just behind the team is the selectors. They too get a lot of licks. But it stops there. Now and then they will pelt a job at the West Indies Cricket Board. But anybody ask who serves on the Cricket Advisory Committee of the West Indies Cricket Board, who makes the decisions there? Anybody ask who advises the West Indies Board on financial matters? Anybody ask who advises the West Indies Cricket Board on pitches? I mean, if it was we call a name on our show, if it was like a Massey, if it was not such a good name these days, but if it was a private enterprise,
yeah,
heads would have rolled long time.
Yeah.
Right? We would have had good pitches because you're going to a Caribbean, let's use our insurance, let's say Sagicor. You're going to any Sagicor throughout the Caribbean, you get a quality of treatment that you like. You're going to a Republic Bank anywhere across the Caribbean, same thing, right? A Scotia, because they invest in their people, they invest in their infrastructure, they invest so that the product that greets the customer, which is the teller, well-trained, well-groomed, well-dressed, the floors clean, the doors open on time. Not that they open 9 o'clock one day and 10 o'clock tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. And unless West Indies see themselves as that kind of efficiency, we're not going to change.
Very interesting. Viewers, we need to take another break. When we come back, we will continue this interesting discussion. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hi, I am Nigel. Quote Me Today is your daily motivational segment to start your day right. Join me Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. right here on NCBN. Remember, wake up with a smile. Today is your day.
That's why when we petting, we just bed tired when we jamming, we just jam down when we drinking, man is strong rum, eh? Pop a bottle right now when we petting, we just bed tired when we jamming, we just jam down when we drinking, man is strong rum, eh? Pop a bottle, push up your hand.
I'm Steve David, and I'm your host. Today I talk football as usual, and I have with me Linda Bramble, welcome to the set. Michael Raghunath, welcome to the set. Instead George Jefferson, George Anthony Clark, welcome to the set. That's Dwight DeLeon. The president of the SSFL, Mariri Gonzalez. Mariri, welcome to the set. Leroy DeLeon, welcome to the set, Leroy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday night, and NCBNTT, thanks for the opportunity.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Saturday Sports. Mr. Mahabir, we talk so much about cricket, and I know you leave the WIBC board and everything, but what are you doing right now?
Well,
besides with Clark Road.
All right, but Clark Road is a labor of love. I was born and grew up there, and I mean, our track record, people wouldn't know this, but Nicholas Puran started his career there. Adrian Barrett started his career there, Suraj Raghunath, Darren Ganga, and we could go back, Odin Smith, Kyle Hope, all these guys, Obed McCoy. We have a long history of producing exceptionally good cricketers. Now, so that is a labor I love. That is the village that is where I was born and grew up. I'm still involved a little bit in cricket. We have a masters team called Trinbago Leatherbacks. We have done some wonderful tours, Costa Rica, Suriname. So we go to St. Vincent every year, Barbados. So we just came back from St. Martin, actually. Quite a lovely tour to St. Martin. So I'm still doing some of that. But I'm still involved in sport through my company, Construction Trades Limited. We do a fair amount of work in sports. Anywhere in Trinidad that you see these red, blue, green tennis courts, we do that. We are the only certified ITF. We have built the only certified ITF courts in the Caribbean, which is at the National Tennis Center. Those are ITF certified courts. We built the courts on Mandela Park. We built the courts at UWI. Any courts, and we have worked in St. Vincent, we have worked in Guyana. We have done some lighting projects in St. Vincent as well. So
besides courts, you do like lights and all this?
Yes, we do not stadium type lighting for tennis courts, basketball courts.
Because I was going to tell you, go down Manny Ramjan and try and help them fix their lights,
We have the expertise to call on that could do that if people are willing to, we could do that. So we have worked on cricket fields, we have worked on turf pitches, and that's why I got to tell you a little bit about, just to give you a little background there. One time the Oval had a problem when Joey was alive.
Joey Carew?
Yeah, and Joey and myself and the late two of that three people died actually. Professor Ahmad out of UWI. We went into the Oval to find out why the Oval pitch was playing badly, up and down, up and down. Professor Ahmad, he was the head of soil science at UWI, came and did some testing and then realized that the top 6 inches of the ground, of the pitch, was contaminated clay. Clay that they add a little bit from here, and they didn't have one source. To get the clay to play consistent, you have to get the clay from one source. So they were adding clays from different places. We took a grader and took off 6 inches of soil and threw it away and prepared what was below that. And the very next game that played there was against India for Alameda 100. So I've been involved in turf pitches. I don't put it down as much because the standard has dropped so much that anybody could go and take soil from anywhere and they put down pitches, and I'm not going to do that. But I'm not going to compromise the quality of my company. So if I'm doing a turf pitch for you, we have to get the soil tested and we have to do everything the right way. And
but the soil is local material? Local material.
Now there's what they call a soils map in Trinidad. They pretty much know where the soil is. But you have to take a sample of the soil. There are certain parameters the soil must meet. It's just like you're going to build a road and you have the gravel that you're putting down must be of a certain quality.
Yeah.
The soil that you're putting down must be of a certain quality. You take it to an engineering firm who will test the soil for you and say, this is what this soil will do for you. And if that is the right soil, then you put it on the pitch. It's not an ad hoc exercise. People do it ad hoc, and I will not do that. So that's why we get in pitches of all different. The first 8 turf pitches that was put down in Roxborough, in Tobago, and a few other grounds, way back when Pamela Nicholson was the Minister of Sport, my company did it. We did 8. And then we continued doing it. And then, like everything else, everybody is an expert. So they come in and they try to put down pitches. We have 1 or 2 people who know what they're doing, right? But I don't want to get into that kind of controversy, and I don't want to do something that is less than quality. So I drop out of that. Now I'm in building tennis courts and basketball courts. Actually, we did a court right in Pleasantville here for...
with the blue?
The blue.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we did Skinner Park tennis courts.
Right.
We did Skinner Park courts over, tennis and basketball. Now we have to do the netball, and we have been doing courts all over the country. We did over the ones at in Mayaro for BP, you know. So that is keeping me busy, and my background is really in construction. So that is keeping me semi-retired, but
still,
just like cricket and football and things. I love sports, so I still, and I'm more armchair critic now, an analyst. I have no avenue for the knowledge, so I enjoy my time at Clark Road and playing with my friends in the Masters League and going on tours and following the game worldwide. I still have very good connections. Gordon Greenwich is my personal friend of mine, so was Clive Lloyd. Look at the last consultation. Nobody invited me. I went up to meet Gordon Greenwich because he's my friend. I met Clive, and you know, it was so good, you know, having seen these guys. Right? But it is what it is. Just for that consultation, Queen's Park, which I'm a member for over 30, 35, 40 years, had 6 people on panels, and no other club in Trinidad was represented. How could that be right?
But who is responsible for that? It has to be the Trinidad Cricket Board.
No, I don't know if they were involved. The government, whoever put it together. I have little respect for the cricket board.
Yeah, since after that incident there where the man, the accountant came out and said how much millions missing, and next thing I hear they fired the man because he come out and say money missing. How could you have a company, right? Millions of dollars missing from your company, and the person who brings that to your attention 2 days after you fire him?
Well, we see what happened to whistleblowers, and I just told you that I'm not involved because I want to see the right thing. The right thing could only be the right thing, you know. The right thing must be done. And I'm not going to compromise principles. I learned about cricket administration at the feet of people like Lee Kwai, Richard D'Souza, Ellis Lewis, Surinder Niram. These were straightforward men.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Lee Kwai. He was
straightforward.
He built cricket in Trinidad and Tobago.
Actually, he lived on Jones Street at one time.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I learned. My parents put the right traits and behavioral patterns into us as children. And if it is right, it is right.
Well, you went fit into sports right now. Because they don't want honest people in sports.
Boy,
and you've seen it, you are seeing it daily.
I'm leadership as a whole in our country is lacking.
Yeah.
You know, when I am still invited to speak to people, and now more I ask them, name one public sector institution that is well run in Trinidad and Tobago. One. Right? And is a battle. I could have named one in the good old days, and I was calling the name on the show Mr. Larry O'Y. He took First Citizens from amalgam of 3 failed back and made First Citizens into First Citizens. Right? Now, if we go to private sector, there are a lot of success stories in the private sector. But I'm asking public sector, which sport, which church, which mandir, which whatever, whichever amalgamation, which NSO, which NGO is well run. Right? Lee Kwai provided, he took, in 1980, he took cricket out of Queen's Park and spread it all over the island. And that is when cricket went, It became a great sport in this country, and now we have fragmented the game due to politics. The Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board has morphed into a political party. That is what it is. Who could vote for you? It's not about competence. I mean, I don't know about the other sports, right? And how they run their affairs. But if I am to look at the evidence on the field, at the product, athletics seem to be producing one or two good players, but one or two good athletes, but more Tobago than Trinidad for some reason, right? Our cyclists, a small bunch of them, doing. Nicholas Paul is doing.
Yeah, well, basically we have about 2 or 3 doing well, but we have one who really stands out, and that is Nicholas Paul, right? And I think that's because most of his training is based abroad.
Well, I don't know enough, but I just tell you the success stories. Jareem. Right? And I see we have 2 young girls, sisters running in the US now.
The Frederick sisters.
The Frederick sisters. Who look well. The 3x3 basketball team were not doing too badly.
Well, you understand they're doing great because they really is babies in the sport, right? And I think they have already chalked up a medal. I think it was in the Pan Am Games or a bronze medal or something like that.
And they qualified for some further tournament. So when you see these little green nuggets, you know, you say, right, there's something good going on here. But they're not...
but they are far and few. You know, you're not getting... Like long ago, you get athletes and sportsmen.
Like a conveyor belt.
We're not producing, right? And that brings me to what you said earlier with the West Indies team. We are not producing great players anymore, right? You will get a player today scoring 100, one taking a 5 wicket, but consistency, you're not getting that.
Well, let me go on a limb here. There's a player out of Tobago, a cricketer by the name of Joshua James.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
He was on the West Indies under 19
he was on the
World Cup team.
Phenomenal talent. Why Joshua is not around the Trinidad setup, somebody needs... Yes, he might have his rough edges and so on. But that's the talent that we need to work with. Right? Why will Odin Smith on the West Indies team? I made mention earlier of Cottrell. Cottrell fell away after 2019. He had a fantastic 2019 50 over World Cup. Odin started off like a house on fire. Where is he? Why we can't take... Because we have limited talent. We have to manage difficult people. We don't seem to want to use the talent in the best way. We want them to be obedient rather than talented, and that is the Hetmeyer's problem. So it's good to see that Hetmeyer is back in the fold and could get the dots lined up for himself to mature. Nicholas Prawn has matured wonderfully well.
Especially coming back from that.
Well, that was physical.
Because remember, he wasn't supposed to be walking, you know.
That was physical maturity, but mental maturity. If you talk to Nicholas now, and I know him from 14 years old, is a different individual I talking to now. Completely different. I've seen some hope in Brandon King. He looks like he has a good head on his shoulders.
He started up,
Right, that's what I tell you, Rovman seems to be doing the right things. Darren Sammy wasn't the greatest cricketer in the world, but he was a fantastic leader. Darren Ganga is not giving enough kudos for his leadership ability. So we had some leaders. I'll call another name for you. I don't know where he is. Jamaica struggling, but Tamar Lambert out of Jamaica.
He just disappeared off.
Fantastic leader. Leon Johnson out of Guyana. Another good leader of his, but then these fellas go away. There's no succession planning. We push knobs randomly and expect the numbers to add up. No, this is a process. You have to identify youth from very early, what they could do, what they can't do, who could be leadership material. It happens in business. It happens in the commercial world. They do all this psychometric testing and things.
We have about 5 minutes, but before I let you go, I want you to tell me a bit. What's your view on Sunil Narine?
Not playing for the West Indies? Is where Sunil comfortable playing cricket? He was not always treated well by the Caribbean because we don't understand how to deal with talent. We don't understand how to deal with egos, and we don't understand how to deal with what's so-called difficult. I wouldn't call it difficult. Different people. Sunil is almost an introvert. He needs to be dealt with differently from how you would deal with Dwayne Bravo, Kyron Pollard, who are kind of in-your-face people. He would go in the back corner of the room, but You don't know if he's happy or he's sad, so he might be sulking. And we didn't treat him well over the years. And
especially when they had called him for the suspect bowling action.
Yeah, we didn't treat him well, and he made his fame and fortune on his own merit in IPL. And I think he's more loyal to the people to the people there than to the Caribbean.
They took care of him, you know.
They took care of him.
Yeah. When West Indies ball field to really rally around him, Calcutta Knight Riders members really keep him.
He's part of the family.
And that's why he loyal to them.
So we don't know how to manage talent. Brian Lara famously said, "We take good talent and make it bad." You remember that?
Yes.
And I just called some names for you. Odin Smith. Joshua now, and you go back and check to the other the Jamaican Seamer Cottrell, and we have a number of people like that. Who
I saw Cottrell in the stands and when for the Papua New Guinea game, I said, but this was a man who was there. He won games for us.
Right. So the people, I think, and this is pure speculation. I don't think they trust the system in the Caribbean. So they go into a professional setup where you know how much you're supposed to train, you know what time is breakfast, you know what time is dinner, you know what is your salary, all of that is known. So the unknowns are less. So if I train and I make runs and I get wickets, this is my reward. You have to wait for no politician selector or no president to call or no vice president or no big boy in organ to say, well, pick George and don't pick Baldath. So they trust the system. And when they trust the system, they work well. When they don't trust the system, they just stay where they are. I mean, we have not, I still hear administrators, George, talking about we need to win the 4-day regional. 4-day regional, red ball cricket in the Caribbean is a gramophone record. It will produce good music for you, but only a few times. That's dead. T20 is the way to take cricket to the world, to make cricket into a global sport. Is T20. That's where the money is. If I want to tell you work 4 days for $500 and work 3 hours for $5,000, which one you work for?
Exactly.
Right? How could administrators sit and still tell you, I want you play club cricket Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? You had to be a madman. People had to work on a Friday. The traffic situation to get to our ground on a Friday. Everything changed. Right? White ball cricket and especially T20 cricket is the future. If I had my way in Trinidad and Tobago, I would concentrate on both in the shorter versions. I would play my league Saturday and Sunday. Let me just do this. I'd play my league Saturday and Sunday because that is where you develop understanding cricket. Right? How to bat on bad pitches. Because you wouldn't really get that on a T20 game. And then out of that, my top 8 teams, I will pick 60 cricketers and then let them play 4-day cricket and then pick out my best.
We have about 1 minute remaining. You know, when we sit down to talk cricket, we can go for hours. Quickly, who's your pick for the World Cup?
Australia.
Viewers, we have come to the end of an edition of Saturday Sports here, and we were talking cricket. And as I said, when I sit to talk to this gentleman, you could go on for hours, but unfortunately we have run out of time. I am hoping that I could extend another invitation to you. I will be back here with us maybe in the middle of the tournament just to see how far we have progressed. So again, viewers, thank you for staying with us, and we hope that you will join us next week for another edition of Saturday Sports. Have a blessed week ahead.